Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pro Tour Talk with Steve Dodge. I'm Steve Dodge. Today is May 9th, 2018. Couldn't have picked a better day in May to have our second Pro Tour Talk podcast. So today we're going to be talking with Sean Jack, the tournament director of the San Francisco Open. And we will also be joined by Jay Redding, one of the ranking members of the competition committee for the PDGA. Whoa, the tuft is nice and high today. And they will both be joining us and discussing the San Francisco Open. And Jay is going to be discussing video replay and whether or not it should be used in PDGA events. So that's going to be a really interesting topic. It's something that started to come up a little more and more. And I know that the golf world has had some thoughts on that, as have pretty much every other major sport. Time for disc golf to start thinking about it as well. I'll do, and then next week, so we'll get to that in just a minute. Next week, though, we will be joined by the Ladies of the Chains, and we have a couple of very exciting announcements coming up. Some relating directly to women's disc golf, and some just in general, the disc golf taking some steps forward. So stay tuned. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we've got announcements every day, and that's just stay tuned, because next Wednesday, Pro Tour Talk is going to be a all-star cast with the Ladies of the Chains and some great women's disc golf conversation going on as well. So, but before we get to Jay and Sean, we're going to do the disc golf Pro Tour news, and then we will do the Ask Me Anything segment, and then we'll bring Sean into the conversation. So with that. Running through the news in the disc golf Pro Tour world, obviously Paige Pierce is a perfect 300. For those of you who don't know, Ricky Wysocki recently bowled a 297, which is not a perfect 300. Paige Pierce, a perfect 300 through the first three events. Well done, Paige Pierce. The second article that we put out this last week is about Pro Masters in the Pro Tour. For those of you who remember our conversation with Dave Feldberg, we kind of mapped out how Pro Masters could work with the Pro Tour, and it's a really good article about how to merge those two divisions, and in the long term, how to meld them into one and have the Open division simply go all the way up to 50. So that's a really good article. If you have not read that, I strongly suggest going to the website, clicking on the news tab, and reading that and letting us know what you think, because it's a new concept. Well, actually, Japan Open did it, but it's a new concept for us to try to integrate it in a lot of events and get to a point where all events are doing it, and Pro Masters potentially becomes a thing of the past. The third thing, we built an infographic, if you will, of our live broadcast. It's a timeline of our live broadcast. Starts way back with the Vibram Open back in 2016, our very first event. The fact that we had Smashbox on board, we had UDisc on board, and we had a really good live broadcast concept, and it worked pretty well. Fast forward a couple of years, and we are, in my opinion, we're smashing it out of the park relative to where we were. And Smashbox and UDisc both continue to take tremendous leaps forward and provide us better and better content. It's great all around. And if I have time, I'm going to go ahead and hit into some of the highlights in that timeline. The third part here, the test event Q&A. We have a really good article. We chatted with Alan Risley of Goat Hill last week, and he was kind enough to write down a lot of those answers. So we included that Q&A as an article. And there's also going to be a link. I think it's coming out on Friday. It might be Thursday, about if you want to run a Pro Tour event, what it would take. And we have a form for you to fill out, tell us all the information about your event, and you can actually look into running a Pro Tour event. And that's coming out Friday, I believe. But this test event Q&A is sort of a warm-up to that. And with that, we will head into the Pro Tour Talk AMA. Let me get this pulled up. Here we go. So we've got three good questions this week. Well, we have three questions this week. They're all good. But no question is bad. If there's anything you want to know about the Pro Tour or about the way we do things or about rules questions that affect the Pro Tour, please go to dgpt.com/AMA and ask me anything. I'm not going to be gun shy on any questions. Haven't turned down any questions before, and it's not going to start anytime soon. So with that, we go to these questions. Here's the first question. Where do we go to claim any prizes from the Pro Tour Patreon Fantasy Disc Golf? So this is a great question. We email all the winners of the Patreon Fantasy Disc Golf League. If you didn't get an email, check your spam folder. And then another clarification, Seth told me about this, is Skip Ace Fantasy is different than the Pro Tour Fantasy, which is on the Skip Ace page. So the Pro Tour Fantasy is only about each of the Pro Tour events. So, for example, the upcoming San Francisco Open, and then Utah, and then D-Glow, and Idlewild, and Ledgestone, and MVP, and the Tour Championship. It's not every event that Skip Ace has. So that might be part of the confusion and reason for that question. But it does give me an opportunity to tell, excuse me, to tell people to go to patreon.com/DGPT if you'd like an opportunity to win some significant prizes. We give away Keen shoes and baskets and hundreds of dollars worth of prizes every Pro Tour event. And frankly, we only have 130 or 140 Patreons, and probably only 30 or 40% of them compete. So you've got really good chances excuse me, of winning the Pro Tour Patreon Fantasy League. So a great way to support the Pro Tour and potentially win some prizes because you can make some seriously good picks. So patreon.com/DGPT. And if you can't find an email and you think that you've won, the easiest way to contact us, if you don't know our emails, is to contact us on Facebook. You can also email me, Steven@dgpt.com, or Seth, who runs the Facebook League, Seth@dgpt.com. I might need to take a quick break and get a glass of water, but we're going to try to finish this out real quick. Number 2, what do you feel are the best additions a tournament director can add to a tournament, no matter the tier? So that's a great question. I genuinely appreciate that. I've been a TD of many X tiers and D tiers and C tiers and B tiers and A tiers, NTs, Pro Tours, as well as the Birdie Bashes. So the biggest thing, in my opinion, to add to any event is food and a great party. If you tell people, excuse me again. If you tell people, hey, come on out to the tournament, we're going to provide a free lunch, or after the tournament, we'll provide a free dinner and a great party, or in between days, if it's a 2-day tournament, we're going to have a great party. If you can get a beer sponsor, get some free beer or some discounted beer and get people to come out and have a really good time. Make the disc golf event social. Get people really excited to bond together and just have some great time talking. Everybody had a spit out. Everybody had a shanked drive that they want to talk about. Having a nice social environment, social encounter after the event or in between rounds is, in my opinion, one of the biggest things you can do to make it a tournament a step above. I talked to Seth about this question, and he said there was an event, I believe it was in Mississippi, that offered breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And he said he really wanted to go because it's like $45 to enter, and you think that's $15 a meal plus there's a tournament. So offer people breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that'll keep people staying after the event. So they'll eat their dinner, they'll be there for awards. That's, in my opinion, that's a great thing. Just make the event social. Other things that are very fun are basket throw-offs and raffles. Always a great way to keep people around after a tournament or at the players' party. And again, making people interact with other people and having fun and being social, and just good and positive way to recreate. So question number 3, why is there an entry fee for the San Francisco Open? Where does the money go? Is it going to the pro purse to offset tournament costs, or just to the TD/Pro Tours pockets? So As far as I know, there is a $10 fee to get in, and we'll have Sean Jack on the show in just a little bit, so he can confirm this with us. But there's a $10 fee to get into the San Francisco Open. Glen Eagles is a working golf course in San Francisco. It is going to cost a pretty penny to rent that course for 4 or 5 or 6 days, and especially in San Francisco. So it is pretty penny to rent that course for 4 or 5 or 6 days, and I don't know what's going on, especially in San Francisco. So hey, hi, Jay. So we've been joined by Jay Redding. I'm going to mute Jay just for a second here. I'll finish up these questions. Jay, I'm going to mute you for a sec. Hopefully. Okay, there we go. So let me go back where I was here. So I was saying, as you can imagine, it's going to cost a pretty penny to rent a golf course in San Francisco for 3 to 4 or 5 days, and so the $10 fee is going to go, in my opinion, is going to go to help offset the rental of that property. There's an additional, I think there's an opportunity to become a VIP spectator of the San Francisco Open, which is $100. And that fee, let me click on this, and that fee would, I think, allow you to play the Glen Eagles course. And this is, I think, the only way you can get to play the Glen Eagles course if you're not in the tournament. They'll let you play the course the couple of days prior to the event, as well as get admission in all of the days, and probably get some other peripheral stuff that Sean will clarify with us later. So that is where that stands. And that's the reason that there is a fee. And when Sean comes in, we'll have a good conversation with him about that. And I'm going to go get a glass of water. I apologize. I got a little bit of a cold, and it's just tickling me a little much. I will be right back. Let me see if I have something fun to play. I think that I could find something fun to play while I'm getting a glass of water. We are making a video of Lisa Fakis, and I think I'll be able to find it here pretty quickly. Last modified. Here we go. Yeah. So we're going to turn this on. Hit screen share. Hit this one. Share. All right. Let's see if this works. Present everyone. I'm going to hit play. Did I hit it? All right, so I've got 1:31 to go get some water. Click the call to action button at this point. Now I'm here. You see me? Okay, I do. Yeah. All right.
What a shot! Got the long putt, and what a finish! She loves it.
Wow.
Little props for her peeps. Look at that excitement.
So
what a way to finish.
There we have it. That was our Lisa Fakis highlight reel that's coming out on Friday. And a big shout out to luxacs.com, SACS.com. they reached out and sponsored that piece for us, which was really, really exciting. I'm happy to have them on board. And if any of you would like to sponsor any of the upcoming women's pieces, we will be releasing, I think we've got 3 more pieces that are not yet sponsored. So $100 gets your name on the highlight reel, and you get a 4-second ad at the front, a 4-second ad at the back, and then a few mentions during the highlight reel. So people are loving these. We release them on YouTube and Facebook, and please email me, Steven@dgpt.com, if you are interested in sponsoring that. And with that, let's bring in Sean Jack from the San Francisco Open. Hello there, Sean. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's great to see you. And we are all very excited for the San Francisco Open, which happens in just next week, is it?
Yeah, I just went to the DGPT website, and I think it's 15 days and hours is the countdown. So yeah, very, very close. Although our event in earnest starts on Tuesday. We'll be hosting doubles at Golden Gate Park, which is the free course that we have about 20 minutes away from Glen Eagles.
And that's on Tuesday?
Yeah, so Tuesday afternoon, the Golden Gate Park, the San Francisco Disc Golf Club hosts doubles every Tuesday of the year, anywhere from 2 to 5:30, depending on sunlight. And we're just kind of take it over. And we're going to do A pool, B pool, and match local pros, national pros with anyone that wants to play. And then we actually have a players party at a local bar that's one of our sponsors, Hockey Haven, and that'll be afterwards. And they're going to have like $5 pasta and some happy hour. So that's our first kickoff.
So you may not have seen it, but one of our questions earlier in the night was, what can I do to make my event special? And one of the things that I said was provide food and entertainment. And you are doing both of those in spades even before the tournament starts.
That's what we're trying to do. Not to brown nose you too much, but I played the first, I don't know, 7 Vibram Opens or so. And I took your model of having ping pong and pie eating contest and poker to most of the events I try to run, so there's ancillary activities always going on.
Absolutely, and that's what makes it fun. And I'll go ahead and say, last year at the Vibram Open, we took some of those activities and moved them off site, and it was much worse. If the closer in you can have it, the better. It doesn't always mean you can do that, but like for example, Waco has the party off site at the bridge, and it's a phenomenal deal. But keeping everybody local and keeping everybody social and interacting is always going to be a success.
Yeah, we're going to try to do that. I think that's the only event that we have that's not specifically at Glen Eagles. We might be hosting a putting party off-site, but that's not on the schedule yet. Everything is going to be on-site at Glen Eagles so far.
Awesome. So I wanted to ask you, it's a topic that has come up in the last day or two. From what I understand, I don't know how you have the audacity to charge people to come watch the world's best players on a golf course in the middle of San Francisco. What are you thinking, charging people?
I know, it's crazy, right? That
from what I understand, $100 a day. Is that right?
No, that is not right. It comes down to 2 things. One is just financial need. This event is costing me and my wife, technically, like $40,000, I think, is a pretty conservative number, between the over $10,000 out of cash, the rental fee for the course for 5 days. So I'm actually subsidizing every round for the pros Wednesday through Sunday, which would cost them about $120 each. Multiply that times 155, 160 players. And then, if you run a tournament, there's other costs. It's, the bathrooms, I have to do security, I have legal fees, I have insurance, I have a website, I have trophies, and then there's all the little tiny things like OB string, and then the costs that you don't know are going to happen. So we have $30,000. Oh, and then I have to pay you money, specifically. So it's like a $40,000 nut, and between sponsorships and disc sales, we're there. But the gate is going to what hopefully pushes us to the break-even point.
Nice. Okay, so when you say between the gate and disc sales were there, you mean you're close. Oh, the gate is the $10.
No, we're not close. No, we're gonna start the event 2 weeks from Friday, and we'll be down a lot. Now, granted, like because I'm running tickets through Eventbrite, I can actually see the money as it comes in, but it doesn't get dispersed until the week after the event. Okay. So as far as cash flow is concerned, I'm certainly going to have to probably add money out of my own bank account to cover it until that gate comes in. Right. And the way we're running the gate, when I said that was the primary reason is need. And the second is, I think watching Paul, Ricky, Eagle, Simon throw 600 feet downhill from the parking lot under a Zuca truss, while you can see the San Francisco Bay with a full bar and restrooms and it's gorgeous, is worth $10. It's not crazy. I mean, I try to think of another sporting event where you see the best in the world for free. And it's like the Boston Marathon. Yes, you can be in Hopkinton on the side of the road. Yep. But there's not many others that you get to walk in and not pay a dime. Someone has to, this is going to happen someday. So why not now? And also we live in the first or second or third most expensive city in the country.
So my guess is, first of all, I think some people were confused over the last day or two because I actually did hear, how can he charge $100 for me to come watch?
So the $100 is the VIP pass. And what that does, and I can break it down, that gives you 3-day admissions. That's a $30 value. It gives you limited edition Innova Star Rats, which is really sexy. It also gives you the ability to play Gleneagles on Wednesday and Thursday after 3 p.m. while the pros have their 8 to 3 exclusivity. And there's no way else to do that. None. So, that green fee, if you did both rounds, would be worth about $50. So you've actually already gotten your value. In addition, I can put a price tag of playing a Disc Golf Pro Tour event at Gleneagles even higher because you have the OB walls, you have the elevated baskets, you have the Zuca truss, you have the photo opportunities, you have the hobnob with the pros. And you get if you play disc golf, you also get that challenge, which doesn't afford itself anywhere else.
Right. Absolutely.
And one more benefit I forgot. I want to thank Zuca. Zuca actually is sponsoring two sets of bleachers. One is about 88 people, and that's for the general public. The other one actually fits about 40, and that's for VIP players and spectators only. And that's going to face hole 1. And after the lead card tees off at 2:30, we're going to pivot that bleacher 90 degrees. So it faces over hole 18, hole 9, hole 10, and hole 11. You could actually 8, 9, and 10. So from the bleachers, you actually can spectate about at least 4 holes, if not 5 or 6.
And those are VIP bleachers, the pivoters.
The one that faces hole 1, where the pros will literally be putting their bags on. They'll be sitting down there. The camera guys will be there. Those are only available for VIP. We have another set of bleachers that's bigger, that's open to the general public.
That sounds.
Zuca sponsorship is the one that's actually picking up the price tag. So I want to thank Jen and Bruce for doing that. Thank you very much to them.
Zuca is obviously one of the great sponsors of the Pro Tour as well. They're coming out with their compact Zuca cart in probably about actually, I don't know what month it is, but I think it's coming out at the end of May.
Yeah, when are they shipping, Steve?
I think the end of May. Do you know?
I heard you talk about it recently. So
okay. I get confused about what month it is. One of my favorite things is every time I start this podcast, I always have to check the date. Like I always say, hello, and I always have to pause and look at the date. I never know what day it is. And
I'm super excited about Zuca. In addition to their the Zuca Zone, which we're calling it, and I think it's going to be like umlaut on the O in the zone. Their truss is actually going to be in the parking lot at Gleneagles, which is hole 9, and it's 747 feet downhill. It's eagleable. Well, it hasn't been done yet. So at the parking lot, literally, is going to be the Zuca Zone, the Zuca truss, where you can watch those guys crush downhill. You honestly don't need to go anywhere else if you just stay there, because you can watch guys hole on an 18. You can place your dollar bets, i.e. Maple Hill. It's going to be very exciting.
So I should have had this question already. I should know the answer to this, and I hope I don't put you in a bad light right here. But would I be able to sit on those bleachers and drink a beer and watch everything, or is the beer only available in the clubhouse?
Oh, no. So Gleneagles permit, like most golf courses, applies to the whole acreage. So yeah, you can get a beer inside the bar. We're going to have satellite stations outside and drink it on the bleachers themselves. Take in at least 4 holes while you're there. As much as I want people to walk the course, there's really not much need to leave that general area.
Nice. That sounds fantastic. We have something. Well, we don't have anything. You could only watch one hole at the bleachers on hole 18 at Maple Hill, and people still do that and enjoy the heck out of it. So that's
it's really fun. I've been there many times. Yeah,
absolutely. Now you played 7 times. Obviously, I don't know how many you were in the lead card or second card.
My best ever. I played with Paul McBeth and David Wiggins Jr. in 1 year on the second day.
Okay.
Second day. So I think I shot like a 60. And Paul finished 5th, and I finished like 67th at the end of that tournament.
A little divergence there.
Yeah, exactly.
So San Francisco, one of the great cities in the world, we're bringing a disc golf event to San Francisco and getting a lot of excitement for it. The way you lay it out there, it totally makes sense that, and $10 to go watch the best players in San Francisco, where I can sit and drink a beer on bleachers and enjoy the I'm going to guess it's going to be beautiful weather because
it'll be windy. Hopefully, I'm hoping for wind, but typically it doesn't rain May through October in this town. So I'm going to guess it's going to be 64 to 70 degrees every single day, and the wind will pick up in the afternoon. But yeah, it's Glen Eagles, unfortunately, for my lifestyle, sometimes it's too much fun to hang out, I have to say.
So it sounds to me like a very good value. And the VIP pass, if you're planning on coming out all 3 days and you want to play a Disc Golf Pro Tour course, which you can only play those 5 days.
Right.
And that's if you're playing.
Or those, Wednesday, Thursday only, technically, for the VIP players. And we're limiting that to 50 players only, so that way they get their comeuppance. It's not like we're opening the floodgates. And I think we launched the program yesterday afternoon. We've sold about 12 VIP passes already.
Okay, great.
So, and we also have a tournament pass, which is $30, and that's admission every single day, and it includes a disc too. So
that's easy.
Yeah, that one I think is a no-brainer if you go 1 day, because you're going to show up anyway. Most of the discs cost $20 because they're CFR TFR. Yeah, and that to me, if you're going to go 2 days or more, that is a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're going to go all 3 days, you got to do it.
Yeah. It's when we posted this yesterday on our local club, it created a lot of chatter because it's disruptive. And I told someone, I'm not going to tell everyone in the social media ethos, but if you come there that day and you hang out for the majority and you get to watch people crush downhill, the course is almost 10,000 feet, hole 18 is magnificent, and you don't think it's worth $10, like, I will hand you a $10 bill. Like, the sport is going to go there someday, and it's going to start somewhere. I think USGDC actually does charge already. Probably the same schedule. I think it's $10, maybe $30 VIP, which you get close to the parking lot. Yeah. And then I think a Frisbee is included. But the product, meaning the players, is worth it. It is. So
you said you would give people their $10 back. I assume that's minus a
I said I give one person their $10 back. One person.
But you said minus a processing fee, I assume.
Yeah, $10 processing fee.
But and not to beat this, I don't want to stick on the money side of it, but you are 100% right. In 10 years, it's not even going to be a question.
If you have a course that you can maintain a gate, right? Like if I had this event at Golden Gate Park where it's open on all sides, it would be very difficult unless, of course, I fenced it in. But I mean, you've been charging parking at Maple Hill for years.
Exactly where I was headed.
That's a gate, right? It's the same thing. If you wanted, you're just calling it something different, and you fill up and you have overflow lots to do that.
So just so people know, what we actually charged, I think it was $3, maybe it was $5 per car, and the reason that we did that was because too many people came. And so we needed
a deterrent.
It was more of an encouragement to carpool, because $5 for a car, I mean, that's, and so now it's the same thing. It's $10 for a car, and if you get 5 people in that car, that's $2 a head. That's
nothing. No, someone just ponies up the cash and pays for it. It's
exactly.
So like the old school 1960s movie theater model, where you're trying to get people squeezed into the trunks.
Absolutely, which is a great model. So the event starts on Friday, and it runs Friday.
Yeah, the competition starts on Friday.
Yep, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It goes live at 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific.
Correct.
And we actually have an announcement. We're not going to touch on it right now, but we have an announcement coming up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, two of which are directly related to the San Francisco Open. So
I know of one of them. Is there another one that I'm not aware of?
I think you know of both of them, but we're releasing. Maybe you know of one. We might be releasing it as two separate things. But we have two very exciting announcements coming out. So, but I'll just say 5 o'clock Eastern we go live. But you might want to watch a little bit earlier than that. So, but that's something we're not going to touch on yet. We're that's a little teaser for people. And then so Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Do you know? Oh, we don't know who the feature cards are because we haven't done the fan vote yet.
We know, I think, 3/4 of them.
We know 3/4 of the cards. I'm going to see if I can pull that up real quick. And right now we've got Jay Redding getting ready to come in. So
while you're pulling that up, can I just talk about our schedule real quick?
Absolutely.
So Tuesday is doubles at Golden Gate. Then we have a players party that night. Wednesday is players can play all day. Wednesday night we don't have an official event. Thursday, same thing. VIP play starts at 3, and then Thursday night we have kids disc golf is coming in, which is a great program based out of Massachusetts. And tickets are on sale for that. I think it's like $4, and your kid gets pizza, and some of the top pros are there to teach them. It's pretty casual, so check that out. Friday night, we're going to have a long distance CTP, and while I haven't secured it yet, we're going to do some research to find out what's been the biggest payout for one disc golf shot in history. And so we're going to buy an insurance policy to try to see if that can happen, whether that's $5,000 or $10,000. So it's going to be a distance CTP where if no one aces it, the players split maybe top 3 of the money. And then if one person makes it, they're going to win either $5,000 or $10,000. And then on Saturday, this is really cool. As soon as the lead card holds out on 18, Hall of Famer Juliana Korver is actually going to do a freestyle demo, which is pretty rad. And then after that, we actually have a local outfit that's going to do live outdoor drone racing on the course that you can spectate from the bleachers.
I think that I've seen drone racing on I don't know where it was. It was somewhere, and it looked like one of the coolest things in the world.
Yeah, these are like 5-inch wide drones, and I think they go up nearly to 100 miles an hour, and they set up all these hoops that they fly through. I mean, I promote and produce a lot of events besides disc golf. That event alone could be worth a $10 cover.
Yes, absolutely. That seeing Juliana Korver do a freestyle would be worth a $10 cover.
Yeah, Saturday is going to be a good day. Sunday, and then we just do the awards, and then my team and volunteers will kick back and enjoy a cold one while we look at the view of San Francisco Bay. And
I look forward to joining you for that if I'm invited. And I'll go ahead and say that the festival will also be running from noon to 8 each day.
That also is included with your admission.
Wow, that's worth half of the cost right there.
Yeah. So for $10, you get the disc festival or disc midway, right? Carnival games.
Right. Exactly.
The view, the competition itself, drone racing or distance. They play great music there. We're gonna have some amplified sound.
And now
I'm not ready for it yet, but I can't wait.
It's your first year event, so I understand you don't have all the good players.
Please check out the lineup. While we don't have everyone that's playing Masters Cup, I think is going to be here and more. Fun fact, Jeff Faze won the last preview event we had here, or the first one. And I think he's now the 47th ranked player in the field.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's 1,000 plus, isn't he?
He floats between 995 and 1,005. But yeah, ballpark. He's MVP sponsored. He actually will be playing at noon on the Jomez card with, I believe, Paul Garrett and Fanvote.
And Fanvote, yeah. And I actually do have that pulled up. So the live card going off at 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern is Ricky, Eagle, Patrick Brown, and
Local,
and the Fanvote.
Yeah.
And then the Jomez card is Paul Macbeth, Girthy, and Jeff Faze, last year's champion. And then the Central Coast card going off at 10 a.m. is Nate Sexton, Simon Lizotte, and James Proctor.
Yeah.
Those 3 cards are, without the fan vote, are loaded.
I know. That's already awesome. I'm hoping that, and I think he will, just because he's local to NorCal, that Drew gets on one of those cards because he's been playing really well and he smashes. And then we'll see. Maybe Barsby, since he's from NorCal too, will be on one of those 3 cards. And then Josh Anton, who's also local. I got to actually play the course with Josh last week, and he silently shredded it and shot, I don't know, 7 down on whatever layout we played. That kid's so good. It's ridiculous.
So I'm going to close with the women's feature card. But before we get there, I'll mention a couple of other people in the fan vote. Top 3 get in. But this is a really interesting event. Obviously, you've got the names that you've heard before, like Anton and Barsby, Gibson, Conrad, Eric Oakley. New names on there, Colton Montgomery. You got Kevin Jones. You have Derek Billings.
Oh, you know what? Derek just dropped out.
I think I was actually, as I said that, I said, wait a minute. No, he just dropped out. We don't have Derek Billings. But the name that we do have on there is Avery Jenkins.
Yes. Yeah, Avery has never played a Pro Tour event. He registered. I was super psyched. I know he plays Masters Cup every year, and he's going to make the trip up to San Francisco for the event. And it'd be cool if he made it too. And he's got a lot of social media muscle, so I'd like to see how much he pushes that.
Absolutely, it's going to be very fun to see. It would be wonderful to see him on a feature card again. It's been a while since I've seen him play at all, and yeah, see if he still has game. He's still 10-10 rated or something like that.
Yeah, he is. He's maintained his 1,000 rated.
Yeah. And then on the women's feature card, we've got Paige Pierce, Sarah Hokum, Jessica Weiss, a California native, and then the fan vote. And that, again, a very powerful. Now, okay, so the default is for people to say, well, it's a big golf course style course. Paige Pierce is just going to run away with this because she has the distance.
So I don't know, because our course designer, architect Leonard Muse, thank you, Leonard, actually has changed, I think, 9 holes for the women. Whether he shortened the tee, or they're playing from the regular tee, where the men are playing this Herculean tee that's so long, that's ridiculous. And also the women are playing a softer par on at least 2 holes, where they're playing a 5 versus a 4, or a 3 versus a 4 versus a 3. Yeah. So there's definitely. It's definitely shorter to hopefully increase scoring variance. Yeah. And, you know, Paige obviously is the front runner if we were playing on the moon. So, well, it's definitely on the moon. But I'd like to see if someone's going to, the last event, she did not win wired. She barely held on the last hole.
Exactly where I was headed. At GBO, she was pushed the whole way. Yeah, it has not been a cakewalk for her at all. There are a lot of women who are ready to challenge her, and I actually think this next stretch, you got Masters Cup, SFO, Beaver State, Utah. I think that's going to be a really good challenge for her to see if she can maintain that, because it doesn't seem likely that she's able to maintain that level over those 4 events.
Including Daisy Chains, the women's global event.
Oh, that's right.
This weekend is in Pinto Lake, which is just south of De La. So if she can sweep Pintos, Santa Cruz, SFO, Beaver State, and Utah, that would be insane.
It would be insane. But we've got people like Sarah Hokum pushing, Lisa Fakus pushing, Jessica Weiss pushing, Katrina Allen ready to return to form. There's plenty of women that are ready to challenge her and give her a run.
For sure. And Glen Eagles plays as a lefty-friendly course or right-hand, forehand-friendly course.
Oh, that's interesting.
Sure. Yeah, it definitely does. You need both shots, and some Byzantine scoring method, the designer puts it at like a +3 in favor of lefty.
Okay.
Or right-hand, forehand, obviously.
You just made Devin Owens' day?
Yeah, and I was sad. Actually, Derek Billings and Zach Melton dropped out this week, and I was really sad because they're premier lefty players.
Right. That's too bad. It is all the way out on the West Coast, and I guess that's the way that is.
Yeah. So what are you gonna do?
With that, Sean, do you have any last closing thoughts for people?
Yeah, I want to thank, although I don't have it, I want to thank Anderson Valley. They're making a new disc golf beer called Hophizer. I didn't have it in the fridge, but I'm going to open up one of their Gosas, and I'm going to enjoy this as Jay takes the mic. Steve, I'll see you here in a couple of weeks. I could not be more excited. Thanks to Anderson Valley, and cheers to everyone out there.
Thank you, Anderson Valley, and thank you, Sean. We will see you in a couple of weeks. Very good. So with that, we bid Sean a bon adieu. And Unfortunately, Jay Redding was here a little bit ago. He dropped off, and I haven't gotten contact as to why he dropped off. But he and I did do a little bit of back and forth about instant replay, and I'm going to go ahead and just talk about some of the thoughts that I've had in communicating with a whole bunch of people about instant replay. First of all, there's an idea of fairness in instant replay where and it goes both ways. If you use instant replay and you catch someone, for example, doing a foot fault, or if the 2-meter rule is in effect and the disc is way high and they just didn't see it, or if a disc flies, you want to figure out where a disc flew out of bounds, so you can figure that out and then make the lie in the appropriate spot. Or if a disc, you want to see if a disc came back inbounds on the far side, like on an island green. Hey, there's Jay Redding.
Hey, what up, what up, what up?
Fantastic. Jay, were you just waiting in the wings trying to sneak up on us? Hello?
I'm used to using Skype mostly for all my calls, so I know that's like so 2016 and everything, but yeah, I've been hanging out. When I popped in and took over the whole screen, I was kind of like, okay, maybe that's not exactly what's supposed to happen. So,
unfortunately, there's nobody in the booth. I'm controlling everything. Would you mind putting your phone horizontal?
How about that?
I love that. I love that. I wanted to see more of the background. It's not
the office. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, it's a floater. Horizontal.
There we go.
How about that? I love it.
All right. Can you hear me good?
I can hear you really well. Thank you very much. So all of those watching on YouTube right now, they get bonus footage. And everybody else, they're going to get this footage. And with that, we're going to say goodbye to Sean Jack, and we're going to bring in Jay Redding. Jay is one of the ranking members on the competition committee. Jay, thank you for joining us.
Hey, Steve Dodge. Glad to be here. Hey, everybody out in Disc Golf Pro Tour, Videoland.
Nice. I think that's our first Yeti call on the Pro Tour Talk. So, Jay, you and I have known each other for, I think, 40 or 50 millennia, and it's very nice to catch up with you again. I don't know the last time we've hugged. It seems like it's been a year.
It's too long, actually.
Well, too long. Are you going to be on the West Coast in the next month?
I tell you what, no West Coast for us besides a stint in Montana and Idaho. And yeah, otherwise, yeah, we're busy as all get out. I'm excited to kind of catch up on a couple things that we're up to. But yeah, unfortunately, I do want to, put my support though towards what Sean Jack is doing as somebody that's been a longtime promoter and organizer of disc golf events. I know that Sean has put in a ton of time. People won't even realize how much time that goes into something like this. Listening to all the things that he's talking about that they've got going on, it just sounds like an absolutely incredible event. You know what? Pay the $100, do the VIP. I guarantee that Sean Jack will not let you down. Just describing what he did in the locale. If you've ever been to the city of San Fran, you know that a dollar burger costs $5 there. So
right.
That $100 is going to be a great value, no doubt. Get out there, bring some friends.
The big problem with promoting that $100 value is he's only got 50 of those, and in all likelihood, there's going to be a dozen or 5 dozen people that are a little upset that they are not able to get in on that VIP package. So
sign up today.
I think that's a really good move, because being able to play that course and then being able to get in all the days and then getting that disc and getting the extra access that he gives you, yeah, it seems like a really good deal. And you're supporting an event in a city that has some serious cachet.
No doubt about it. And a first-time event, too. And there's nothing like getting an event like that off on the right foot.
Yeah.
City of San Francisco and this golf course is already planning their calendar for 2019. So they're going to be looking to make a review on this right away. And I think it's up to all of us, put your money where your mouth is, put your feet in the street, and let's get her done.
Put your feet in the street. That's a pretty good one. That's new, right?
It just rolled off, actually.
Just came up with it. So Jay, I could spend an hour just catching up with you, and maybe after this call, I'd like to do that with you. But before we get to the video replay concept, I'd love to chat real quick with you and just say, what kind of things are you and Des doing, or maybe just you? What are you guys up to? And tell us some stories from the road.
Well, I'll give you three quick things that we're doing last week, this week, and ongoing. Of course, Des and I are working hard with the Educational Disc Golf Experience, with the nonprofit organization that's helping grow young disc golfers that are eventually going to turn into PDGA members, that are eventually going to turn into Disc Golf Pro Tour players.
Of course.
And if even if they don't get to that level, just the admiration and respect of what we're doing, we're going to start bringing families out to spectate and check it out, because they play as family units. We've got a tournament charity program. We've got 60 events lined up already so far throughout the country. These events support Edge along with their regular tournaments. Last year, we had 75 tournaments, and we granted out $18,000 in awards to schools and youth programs to get them off on the right foot in starting disc golf at their schools. We're starting to see those kids become enamored with it. You know, the great folks out at Kids Disc Golf, you know, they're doing a cool thing on their end, is they're actually putting up and posting a lot of these videos that parents are taking. It's infectious. And I think we're in the I want to do that as well mode, and one thing leads to the other. So that's what Edge is up to. And we just did a great National Physical Education Conference where we presented disc golf. We actually co-presented at the show with the PDGA. So this was super cool, because the new executive director, Joe Chargaloff, came in with representing the PDGA, as well as the PDGA president, Justin Menichelli. And it was great to have those guys there to not only see what Edge is doing and what we have been doing, but also kind of get in touch with the educational system as well, because you know, Joe and Justin are both very minded in this. Truly is where we're going to start providing fuel to what you're doing with the Disc Golf Pro Tour. So it all works together, and hopefully we can all play in the sandbox and keep this thing going. And we're stoked about that. So last week we ran, we're in the mode of running a couple events before we hit the road. We ran a C-tier up in Tarrant County College at a course I designed up in Fort Worth. This has been an ongoing relationship of just wanting to put together campus events for them to showcase their school, their course that we designed. We had 1,600,000 plus PDGA members participate. So it's always geared towards the youth and towards new players. So
wait, you said 1,600?
1,600,000 members. So meaning like 14 of these people, this was their very first PDGA event ever.
Oh, 100,000. That's their number, their PDGA number.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Wow. Yep. That's new.
Super cool. We had 4 juniors. We had 4 families. So we had like the Steppe family, who's the mom played, the dad played, and both their sons played. So super cool event on that. You know, that's got a lot of rewards on a lot of different ends for that. And then this next week, we're actually hosting a women's global event down in San Antonio. So we're super stoked about that. And, you know, of course, they're cresting over 2,000 women in participation. And, you know, like everything, of course, Texas wants to do it a little bit bigger. And we've got 6 events here in the state of Texas. There's 125 women already signed up, more signing up every day. So we're really looking forward, you know, to providing a venue where the women of San Antonio can participate and come on out. So
I've run probably a couple of dozen tournaments in my life. I'm a very accomplished tournament director. How many events? You said 75 last year. You've already got 60 on the books this year. I assume this is not your second year doing this. Have you run more than 500 events?
Well, the good thing, Steve, I guess, is that I'm actually not running them. So these are actually partnerships with great tournament directors all around.
Oh, that's even better.
Like the Iowa Tour, Russ Burns Disc Monkey Tour out of Missouri.
Yep.
We've got the Western Arkansas Flying Disc Association. And you know, we've got room for a bunch others, because this is a great outlet to not only connect your event to a charity that obviously goes back to the community. There's a lot of times, we try to have people not talk about Edge like it's a disc golf charity, even though you and I both know that, yep, it is.
Yep.
In reality, what it is, though, it's actually a charitable organization that is for schools. And schools, especially physical education, is one of the most underfunded programming in our nation.
Yep.
And we're seeing that with our alarming, childhood obesity and juvenile diabetes rates that, of course, disc golf is trying to combat every day.
So if I'm running an event and I would like to associate with you and bring you guys in or bring Edge in, how do I get a hold of you, and what's the best way to start looking into this?
Yeah, thanks for asking. You can go right onto the edgediscgolf.org website. There's a link right on the front page. It's got a little information about the program. You can send an email directly to that link. It'll go right to me. It's a simple agreement, and we actually have some great corporate sponsors that really support this program, meaning that we can supply a support package to these events to even help raise more money, or if it's a per dollar per head, we can supply some great CTPs from Innovachampion Disc, and a huge sponsor is Keen Footwear out of Portland, Oregon.
Great.
Doing great things with all those guys.
Fantastic. edgediscgolf.com.
.org.
Oh, .org. Okay. I've never been to edgediscgolf.com. Don't know what it does.
I don't either.
I'm sure they're good people. So edgediscgolf.org. I'm actually glad I said that, so people know, oh, it's not .com, it's .org.
Nope. Edge is a 501c3 charity. Any donations to Edge are tax deductible, or I guess we'll find out what exactly is going on with the new tax structure. But needless to say, any funding that's given to Edge goes right back into providing disc golf into schools and other youth programs.
Absolutely. So I've got 3 follow-up questions for you, and
okay.
These are just me listening to Jay and saying, that's something that I'm interested in. One of the things that we're talking about a lot in the last month or so, actually probably the last year or so, Valerie Jenkins brings up stuff all the time, and she kind of got this ball rolling a while ago. But I'm interested, what percentage of youngsters that you guys teach are girls? When you go to these schools and you see the classes, is it the entire class that comes, so it's 50-50? Or do they get to, if they choose, I guess basically I'm interested, if they choose to come, what percentage of the people that are choosing to come are girls?
Well, that's a great question. And really, we really have to look at the actual makeup of the schools itself. And the majority of those, something's going on with my volume. Sorry. There we go.
Right.
It's the same makeup that of every day that goes to school. So what are we at? I think it's 51% women and 48% men. So with the physical education realm adopting disc golf as a viable recreational outlet, as a lifetime activity, all of these kids are exposed to it.
Wow.
And, we just start to have to play the math numbers. And for every 1,000 kids that we actually put a disc into their hand, we might be lucky and get maybe 100 of those that are actually going to play outside of the gym and physical education with their family. And then we can only hope that maybe another, 10% of those actually take it to another level and maybe play in a league or join a club. And so, you're talking about like, well, okay, 1,000 kids, that's really only a few here and there. But guess what? There are millions of kids, so with that, to me, here's the answer to the $1 million question that you've been asking a lot, and we really appreciate it. And I know, all the women out there appreciate you really listening and trying to find this, how do we get the women's game to go farther and get bigger? I got your answer, Steve. It's Edge. And it's the educational disc golf experience. It's all the other youth programs that are going on. We are at still a major growth stepping area for the sport.
Right.
I've been around the sport for 20 years. I was a huge amateur athlete all through my life. So I understand all the aspects of different sports, different clubs, all these different things. And to me, it really is a numbers game. And the exposure on an ongoing basis is going to continually produce these kids that we are now. You know, Des and I we did have one story a few years ago. We've now have several stories of kids that we're seeing at tournaments and at the PDGA World Championships that are saying, making us feel real old by saying, "Oh man, you guys came and did a assembly at my entire elementary school." And, you know, there's no better feeling and reward for us than that. But in reality, it shows that the proof is in the pudding.
Right.
And, you know, we're getting kids that are getting ready to get out there.
So you're 100% right. The answer is teaching the kids. And I think you would go ahead and say that there's two sides to that equation. One is making disc golf cool, which is the goal of the Pro Tour, so that when you go to these schools, the kids can look at disc golf and say, wow, that's something real, and that's something that I want to do. Have you, when you go to these schools, have any of the kids ever known about any of the pros? Do any of them know Paul McBeth and know Ricky Wysocki and know Paige Pierce?
You know, I don't even really throw that out there a lot because I don't even want to. I know even if there are one or two kids, you know, that's not what we want. What I want to do is you know, and now it's a little dated. I'm using folks like Ricky Fowler and stuff, but you know, it used to be, you know, Tiger Woods. You know, I would talk about golf because everyone knows golf. And
yeah.
Tiger Woods, and everybody knew about Tiger Woods, and then that's where you correlate. You know, well, golf, frisbee golf, disc golf, you know, and then it just kind of chains in that reaction. And then, of course, you know, demonstrating and, you know, elementary kids are the best because, you know, they freak out over a beautiful Anheuser that arcs across their entire, you know, gymnasium. And
right.
They think they're awesome, and throw in a couple 60-footers and, you know, it's over.
And yes, that I don't remember the first time I saw that, but yeah. You know what it was? It was watching Nico actually do a demonstration with a bunch of kids, and he threw a disc 400 feet, and you just saw the eyes light up, and the kid saying, "That's what I want to do." And
that's right. That's right.
You're nailing it 100%, and I thank you very much for what you're doing.
So there's, like you said, there's two routes here to grow disc golf. Become a Patreon, you know, support the Disc Golf Pro Tour on one side, give a tax-deductible donation to Edge as the charity. We're both going to keep growing the sport, and we'll do it together. And I think it could be great.
And you could even argue the two aren't exclusive.
No, I mean, you know, you and I have talked about different ways to partner up, and I think we came close this year. I think we're going to even get closer next year, hopefully. So, in fact, I'm hoping next year we make it happen.
Absolutely. We're every year we're getting closer and closer. And as the Pro Tour goes, it gets easier and easier to get closer and closer. So, but that's an aside. Now, I want to shift to Jay Redding Competition Committee. Are you the chairman? What are you?
Yeah, I have officially taken over the chair. Yeah, just really in time to do a lot of the heavy lifting of organizing that rework of the rule book and the competition manual. And luckily, we've got a great committee that is willing to put in the volunteer hours and the brain power that it takes to get something like that done. And I think it's really important to point out that the competition manual is completely different than the rule book, even though the two work very close together. And of course, they're supposed to basically complement each other, and they do in some areas, and there's still some work to do in other areas.
Right. It's and there always will be. No, it's never complete. As the game evolves, the rules evolve with it. So thank you. First of all, thank you very much for your service on the competition committee and for now taking the role of chair. I remember, I think it was almost a decade ago, probably in 2010. I think we worked on the NT committee. I don't know if that committee still exists or not, but that was
we broke it, Steve. Almost you and I collectively broke that, and
it really felt like we did break that.
The cool thing is that a lot of the you know, ideas that you put forth, and you know, I shared too, that
Right.
you know, you're implementing a lot of those. So here we are, 10 years later. That train is on the tracks officially.
Yeah, it took a little while, but we got it going. But thank you. You've been involved in the inner workings of the sport for a long time, and we all owe a debt of gratitude to you for that. And not to mention all of the tens of thousands of people, that kids that you've taught the sport to. But today specifically, I wanted to bring you in to discuss video replay. When I throw a shot out of bounds and I don't know if it hit inbounds over there, and there's a camera over there because I'm playing on the lead card, I'll start the question this way, and then we can diverge. Should I be able to look at that video replay and see whether or not I hit inbounds, so that we can make sure that at least I get the right call?
Well, I mean, that is a tough one. You know, so I think you already know the stock answer, and that's that I don't know if Steve, of course, you're going to be on the chase card at the minimum, so there's probably a camera going to be on you. But you know, we have a bunch of other professional players that have paid the same entry fee that you did, and I would think that they would also deserve the same ability to see if their calls are warranted or not. Fair enough.
Well, it's an interesting question, because that's the crux of it. Is if you can't get it right for one person, the person on the last card who doesn't have a camera, does that mean you shouldn't get it right when you can?
Well, I mean, that starts to get into the whole debate of you know, the real truth of the matter is that our sport is in its I don't want to say infancy, because we're not infants. We're walking, we're talking, we're throwing 500-foot hyzers. And back when I was you know, 1,000 and blah 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 player, we weren't doing that at the top level. None of us were throwing 500-foot hyzers. I can guarantee you that. So, you know, that being said, it's a whole new world out there as far as the technology meeting the demand of the courses. Now, the other thing that disc golf has that will fight this effort the entire way is that we're not on structured venues. Now,
Right.
next, you know, in San Francisco, we're at a golf course. Well, guess what? Yep, golf has a history of having, you know, I don't even know, 25, 35 cameras, um, positioning towers. They've got officials in the booth that all they're doing is actually watching the live feeds, and they have the ability to click over and check out different things. So, you know, believe me, nobody supports Joe Mez and Smashbox and Central Coast and even a bunch of the armchair guys that are out there than me, because I've felt that I actually was a little hesitant on, like, man, really, people are sitting around and watching disc golf in their living room when it's 75 degrees outside, you know, and that's, you know, that's the Yeti in me, man. I'd want to be outside right now. In fact, there's a window. I'm watching the deer out there once in a while right now. You know, I love it. It befuddles me as a outdoor recreational professional, as an athlete. But my gosh, do we love video watchers, you know?
Yeah.
Because in the end, you know, you alluded to it at the Maple Hill. You know, what a great complex for disc golf. However, it's handcuffed by the ability to bring in more people than the house can hold. So some of these other venues are going to help with that. But the video side of it is absolutely incredible. So back on track, you know, the short answer is we just are totally not there yet. I mean, here's the thing. We spent a lot of time on video. Here's why: because the rules committee actually just took out the Q&A that prohibited video usage I should have had the total verbatim, but they took out the Q&A that basically disallowed video review. And so what that did was, by removing that, just like with the rangefinder, they didn't make rangefinders legal. They just took out the words that made them, prohibited. So now they are legal. So technically, the rule book might have gone into effect with not even video being mentioned, and then the Wild West would have ensued. And luckily, the competition committee actually caught that and said, whoa, hold on a second. Let's find out what your intentions are. And intentions were kind of, they weren't really sure, I think, what exactly they were going for. Besides, I think there are some things where, video evidence, pictures are probably, I think, warranted. The committee, we all are, not completely against everything. We just got to make sure we do it right. And so that's where we came up with, and we talked about it for a while, but it literally is Pandora's box, can of worms, you name it. And golf has been going through this. In fact, golf just this year outlawed the ability for armchair quarterback Joe to call in and go, oh my God, Tiger Woods just duffed the sand before and they had that. I think it was 2013 Masters. Somebody, I don't know if somebody had a direct line to the PGA or whatever, but Tiger got penalized based on somebody, calling in and reporting that, whoa, hey, you guys need to look at this. And there was an LPGA player that actually ended up, most likely losing the tournament because she went in a playoff. But somebody else, so the PGA even, as millions and millions of dollars and years of experience that they have on us, they're still scrambling to going like, right. Wait a second, now this isn't right at all. So that's where we came back and we're like, well, what up with to kind of at least acknowledge that, all right, we understand that technology, video, the venues, the top players, some of this stuff is heading in that direction. But for right now, the only place that we feel that video evidence, should be going is to submit evidence for misconduct. Okay. So when somebody goes ape and off the rails, sure. It's not somebody's story against somebody's story. It's like, hey, look at this guy. Look at this clown, So it would be, and I actually don't have an opinion on this, which is, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but on a lot of topics, I tend to not even have an opinion because there's both sides make sense to me. It makes sense to me that if you can't cover every card and can't give every player the benefit of a video replay, you shouldn't give it to anybody then. But I can also understand somebody saying, wait, we're on the lead card. We're challenging for the lead. We have a video replay available of that shot from the pin. We can tell if it went in or out from that shot on that video replay. Why not use it and get the call right? And I can understand both sides of that argument. They both make sense to me. And which means to you, I understand exactly what you're saying. And I don't have a valid argument against it because you're right. If you can't do it for everybody, it's not going to be fair. Armchair Joe calling in. First of all, I love that Armchair Joe has a ridiculous voice. I don't know what part of the country he's from, but he has a little rah, rah, rah voice, which is great. I made fun of Terry for his Armchair Joe voice. So I would say that should never, ever happen. He should never have an ability to just call in. I don't know if he called during the tournament or what, but I don't know how that. Yeah, that's just a crazy story. So both sides of this make sense to me, and I don't quite get it. And I'm leading somewhere. So just 1 second. Oh, and regarding you said you don't know what to call the sport. I like to use the word nascent. First of all, it's a word that makes me look intelligent. It's a very good 7-letter word for Scrabble. And the definition. Grandma played that on you more than once, I have a feeling.
But it means coming into existence and beginning to display signs of future potential. So I feel like that's what disc golf is. I think we are nascent. If you look at golf having a 400-year history, we have a 40-year history. We are coming into existence, and we're displaying signs of potential. But where I was going with all of that earlier video stuff, I think at this point we do almost, if not already there, we almost have a universal coverage for people to take pictures of a disc that landed inbounds or out of bounds. And I've had many people, as a tournament director, try to give me a phone and say, look, here's a picture of where the disc landed. Is this inbounds or out of bounds? And in my opinion, I do have an opinion on this. In my opinion, since it's almost universal that everybody can take a picture out on the course now, I think that should be allowed. Where do you stand on that?
So whether or not this disc is OB right here on the line.
Yeah. Or if it's in a swampy part of the pond, or, you know, there's
this disc landed in this section of the course.
Yeah.
It's not showing up on the map. I don't have my, you know, whatever it is, you know, that type of stuff. I think I personally think is fine. You know, so basically, you know, here's something that we've kind of talked about here. So video evidence not being allowed for foot faults, stance violations, you know, whether or not that disc is on the line or not. You know, those are all, in the end, the spirit of the game, and the reason that people are even put into groups. And it says it clear and simple, right in the rule books. Right. It's for us to, you know, keep track of score, verify scoring, and to also watch and enforce the rules. And that's where we're self-officiating, you know, and we can bring up two stories about Ricky Wysocki. Love the guy. You know, one came up with the memorial here, and I still don't even really know the full gamut of what actually happened. Besides, you know, it sounds like maybe video evidence would have shown that there perhaps was a foot fault there. Yeah. But in the end, it sounds like not only did he throw fast, so the players maybe get off the hook because he did throw so fast that some of the players didn't even know he was throwing to watch. But in the end, you know, because the players didn't watch, they're actually also in violation for not, you know, adhering to the spirit of the game. You know, that's what they're out there for. That's what, you know, one card separates another card by score. But in the end, we're all in the same division. We're all out there to make sure that competition is held in the highest regard. So, you know, that's where that becomes a little bit, you know, tricky. You know, so I think things like, hey, you know, wow, my disc landed in here. You know, this isn't even covered in the rule sheet. What's up with that?
Right.
You know, and that's a time saver, because what would happen nowadays would be the tournament director actually has to, or somebody of his, you know, official choosing has to actually go walk out there to wherever the offending place is and check it out for themselves. So, you know, I mean, to me, I feel that probably will be the next step. I mean, you know, if we are going to move forward in this direction, you know, it's probably going to be incremental.
Right. I agree with that entirely. I think that's the way football brought it in. They just said, okay, we'll do instant replay, but only on these few things. And then they expand. The pendulum swung maybe too far and they're swinging it back. And that's just the way this is going to be. We're going to say, and I appreciate you potentially saying, yeah, that actually would work. It would save a lot of time walking out to hole 7 to go look at that little area. So that's, yeah, it seems to come up. Actually, it didn't come up last year, but it seems to come up every other year at the Vibram Open. There's somebody finds a spot somewhere on that farm that we did not put OB rope, and there's confusion. So
of course, yeah. I mean, in the end, you know, the number one importance of all of this is that the you know, we crown a true champion.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, the technical kind of stuff of I saw this, I saw that, because even camera angles can be misleading.
Yep.
We saw a bunch of that with the World Championship in Pennsylvania with the, you know, Stokely Climo thing. You know, camera angles, as you know, and all of Hollywood knows, is the absolute key to, you know, showing what you want to show. Tell your story with angles. So, yeah, we're just, that type of stuff, just no way. But talking about things that are misplays, you know, things like that, we want the correct outcome.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Okay. So, but we want the correct outcome to be equally applied. Like if one group's going to get the correct outcome, but another group is not, that's not, well, that's interesting. Is it? So it's a really tough conversation, and I'm going to say we have to leave it as an open-ended thing, because we're over time, and I pride myself on finishing this within an hour, but I knew Jay Redding was coming on, so there was almost no chance that was happening.
We'll have to do it more often.
I look forward to it, Jay. And so let's go ahead and put that in the bucket list for 2019. I'd love to see being able to use pictures for discs that are in or out of bounds. That's something that I'd love to see. And the reason I think that we can do that is because it is almost universal that someone on the card is going to have a phone with them where they can take a picture.
Yeah, and that's going to be tricky, because it's not, is it in or out of bounds, because that's what the group is for. And if the group cannot make a decision of whether that disc is physically in bounds or out of bounds, then they're in bounds. I mean, it's, you know, it's going to be a tie goes to the runner. It's going to be questions on course layout and OB areas being defined.
Okay.
Rather than black and white. Are they in? Are they out?
You're 100% correct. It is not you're not looking straight down on a disc trying to decide if it's on the line or not. It's not that. It's the definition of an area in general.
I would be agreeable to. But we have a whole committee, and you also have to understand that the committee only makes suggestions to the board of directors, and ultimately they wield the power.
Absolutely. So I will agree. I will understand that this has not been pushed through yet. Is that correct?
Not even close.
You didn't laugh quickly enough for that. It was very awkward to me, but that's a fine thing. So this has not been pushed through yet, and it may never get pushed through because there's other considerations. But from my simple point of view, I would love it if I didn't have to walk down to hole 7. And I'll close by telling a fun story. At the Vibram Open, the course has changed over the course of the last 15 years. And if you can think of hole 6, the tight one going down with the OB wall. Yeah, OB wall on the right and the kind of the swampy pond on the left. And the basket used to be off to the left of that, near the pond. And we had an OB rope that defined where the OB was, and I guess that year the pond was very low, and then the next year the pond was higher, and we restrung the rope, and the pond never got down to that level again until a couple of years ago. And somebody landed well in the pond. They were 5-6 feet off the edge of the pond, in the pond, and they said, but I went to retrieve my disc, and there was a rope about a foot past my disc. What, are you serious? And like I actually walked down there, and they said it was right here, and they showed me where the rope is, and it was a rope from 12 years ago. And I was like, okay, you're well out of bounds, and I'm just going to rip this rope up right now.
Well, yeah, as you know, in your experience, if it can't happen, it will happen. And that's some of the beauty and adventure of our sport too. I mean, I don't think we really do want the cookie cutter aspect of having, and I guess here's my opinion on golf courses all the time. You know, I think we need to maintain that mix. And I think you talked about it not too long ago. I would be one of those players that is being pushed out of the high level competition solely because I'm not blessed with a far throw.
Yeah.
You know, due to a lot of factors. But, you know, if you cannot throw 450 feet accurately on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, you're pretty much going for the experience and you know, and the support.
So we talked with that. I think it was last week. It might have been 2 weeks ago with Drew Gibson, and the question that I posed to him was, "Is this something I should be concerned about?" And he said, "For the time being, for the next 5 to 10 years, yes, you should be concerned about that, and try not to get courses too long. But in 5 to 10 years." When those of us who came up with the game when I started playing, 300 feet was an unimaginable drive. That was the longest hole in the course.
Yeah.
This is back in the 80s. And I could throw about 350 back then. And I had a significant advantage. And now I can throw about 340 and I don't have an advantage at all. I'm the shortest throwing person in the world. As I demonstrated at GBO, I cannot compete on that level anymore. But and he said, realistically, once the Pro Tour has happened for a while, 5 to 10 years, then the players coming in have that expectation that they have to throw 450 or 500. But until then, we're in this really awkward transition phase where some of the courses require the big throws and some of the courses don't. And it's it is a sticky wicket. There's a lot of them. That's what happens when you have a nascent sport.
That's right. That's right. And I think hopefully the B tiers and stuff will still stick around and kind of showcase some of their local courses and things. But I'll give props to Smuggler's Notch as being the place where I came in for the first time and was like, this is it.
Yeah.
Here's one course booming, but yet risk reward with OBs. Here's another course that complements it, that power is good, but now the risk factor goes way up, and the guys that actually can shape and control shots have the advantage there. So
right.
The Pro World Championships will be an awesome venture in that experiment right there.
100% agree. And GMC, it's really interesting because I am a strong advocate of having one course per Pro Tour event. The Memorial went down from three courses down to 2. A lot of that, I think some of that was prompting from me, and some of that was them trying to just bring things in more. But when I look at all the courses, I've tried really hard to make sure we just have one course. And when I talk to Jeff Spring at GMC, I'm just like, no, you can have 2 because it's what you're doing is perfect.
It is a rare special place, and you're totally on the right track with the one course. I mean, now that we're getting up to 10,000, feet easily, we got to treat our athletes like athletes. We want to, this is a lifetime activity, but anytime we're pumping out 450, 500 foot shots again and again and again, with multiple days of practice, plus driving hundreds of miles in between. Yep. We got to maintain the bodies. We want all of our great young pros to be great older pros as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And that is the key, because then we can watch them for a long time and we can root for them for a long time. And when Paul McBeth in 10 years makes a run at a Pro Tour event or a World Championship, it's going to be really exciting to see him competing with these kids who are half his age. And, yeah,
absolutely. So let's see. You told me to have a story, but I'll let you pick the subject matter. I've got, of course, all kinds of, but I'll end with just a quick one if you want. I
would love to hear your story. Thank you very much, and I think this is going to be a great way to close out the show.
Well, you choose the subject matter.
I would like to hear a story. I just heard a story at dinner tonight about a couple of kids that was very, very funny. So I'd like to hear a story about some kids that you've either taught or interacted with that entertained you to no end.
Okay, I got tons of other way funnier stories.
Oh.
Kids are kids, right? Hold on, I get you. I guess this is one of the more recent ones that kind of hit me pretty good in the heart. New Zealand disc golf heart. So our nephews are starting to play, 8 years old and 5 years old, and they participated in their very first disc golf event. That was actually a children's event for Becky Zalek Memorial, Hall of Famer, incredible promoter in Iowa. And they were playing, of course, and all these kids, and they're just not sure, like they're used to playing with adults. So it's like, I think I'm supposed to be competitive, but yet I want to pick flowers at the same time that I'm supposed to be focusing and all these things. And one of the kids kept on using this putter, and he started going like, I really love this putter. This is a Yeti Aviar. And so my little nephew of 5, of course, he kept on trying to tell the kid, oh, well, yeah, that's my uncle, and the kids didn't even really register, but then he would say it again, and finally Zeke got to the point where he was just like, he's my uncle, not your uncle. My uncle is Yeti Pro Aviar. Looked at the disc and kind of was like, all right, so you're saying your uncle's a disc. I don't quite get it, but I mean, out of the mouths of babes, and that's just funny stuff. I mean, that's the last kid. Good story, I guess.
the beauty of that to me is as a kid and as an adult, when someone doesn't understand what you're saying, or you say a joke that you think is funny and they don't, you just say it again and again and again.
That's exactly right.
You'll get it. I promise you'll get it. It's funny. It's really interesting. Just listen. Jay, thank you very much. My best to Des, and you guys enjoy the Texas heat. And I look forward to the next time we run it. Our paths cross, and I hope it's soon.
All right. Good luck out there. Thanks everybody for checking in.
And thank you, Jay. And with that, I'm going to say good night to everybody. This has been an extended version of Pro Tour Talk with Steve Dodge. I'm Steve Dodge. I hope you have a good night. Throw them straight and sleep well.